Hi there everyone, my name is Michael from My Asset Marketing. I'm a website designer and today I'm going to be showing you how to resize some photos so that they go onto your website in the correct sizes to increase your page speed and basically just not fill up too much space on your server. So I use a beautiful little piece of software called Fotoziser Pro, or just Fotoziser. You don't need to pay for this software if all you want to do with it is resize the pictures, but I actually have the Pro version because it adds a few extra nifty features like the ability to watermark your photos or add rounded corners without having to stuff around in Photoshop. Just basically makes all your photography stuff really nice and quick and simple, and which is what you want. You don't want to have to be stuffing around for too long. So without further ado, I've got my test photo over here. It's a tattoo studio. We basically drag that and drop it into the software, and straight away you can see a little bit of information about the picture. So I guess the first thing you want to look at is the size. This one is 1.92 megabytes. That's way too big for a website. The other thing you can see about it is the resolution, so it's 3264 by 2448 pixels, and it's 72 dpi. The other side here you can see what size it would be after we resize it. It would go down to 2000 by 1500, still at 72 dpi, and the new file name, which would be the same, just with the word copy at the end. So obviously you can change this to whatever you like. And if you have a look over here, you've got the resize settings. You can actually choose a few different things. So we've got custom size, percentage of original. Let's just go ahead and say change that to 500 pixels and press tab. And you'll see that it automatically adjusts the height to maintain the correct ratio. You want to try and always have maintain aspect ratio ticked. If you untick that and I type in a number, let's try 600, you'll notice that the height didn't change. Now what will happen is if I don't have this ticked, that will it'll distort the photo, so you don't want to have that happen. So let's, oh, there we go. So 600 by 450, that's much better. Now you can see over here you can choose from pixels, percentage of size or percentage of original, centimeters, millimeters and inch. Pixels and percentage are pretty much what I always use. Pixels allow you to go to basically align all your photos to the same size. So if you want to set all your photos at exactly 450 high, whatever the width is, then you're able to do that through doing this. So we could say we want that to 455, click over here and that automatically adjusts to 607. If it's a percentage, you're not able to get that consistency unless they're all the same size to start with. But you can set it to say 40%, and it will do that to the ratio. And you can see over here, after resize, it will come to 1305 by 979 pixels. So let's go back here and let's make that 600. There we go. Now, this option here, do not enlarge if smaller. What that's for is if you put in another photo. So let's put in another photo. I've got this logo right here. We'll drag that in. Now you can see that this is 512 by 512 pixels, but we've got the width at 600. So what this would actually do, if this was not ticked, if that was unticked, this would actually make the new photo bigger after you resize it, which is definitely a no-no. There's never a situation where you want to pixelate a photo. It just looks bad. It'll look crap on the website. You just don't want to do it. Don't do that. So if you're not sure, just keep that ticked, and that way any photos that you might have in the whole list that are smaller than what you're resizing to, they'll just be skipped over. Now the other setting that you might need to look at is miscellaneous settings, and there's two options in here, or well, three actually, but two that I'm going to talk about. First one is changing the quality. Now what this allows you to do is you can actually set a quality to be lower than 100%, And you might find through experimentation that you can actually drop the quality of a photo without affecting its actual visual quality. So by that I mean that computers can actually obviously see more detail than the human eye can, and if that's the case, and let's say you dropped it to 95%, you could look at those two photos side by side on a computer screen and not be able to tell a difference. The benefit of that is you're getting the same visual impact for your customers, or for visitors of your website, but you're not actually taking up as much space, which means therefore you're increasing the speed of your page load. The other one that's just that I like to keep ticked whenever it's web photos that I'm working with is the DPI settings. And you'll see that mine is set to 72. Now it doesn't affect these photos at all because this one it would, 96 DPI, but this one is 72 DPI. Now what DPI stands for is dots per inch, and it's only relevant to have more dots per inch than 72 if you're actually physically printing something out. So for example, if you were taking this art or these photos down to to get printed into a magazine or maybe even a business card, that's when you would want to give them 300 DPI images. If your originals were already at 300, obviously you can't increase the dots per inch once the photo is already lower. But for web use, 72 DPI is what is used across, it's just the industry standard, so that is very safe to keep it at. Now, basically down here you can see you've got destination settings, so you can save it to a folder. We want it to go into the same folder as the original, but you can choose it to go somewhere else if you have a different location where you keep your edited photos or your optimized photos. And the output format, I've got it set at JPEG. You can choose other options. Now, the two other options, well actually we won't talk about, the only one that really matters aside from JPEG is PNG. Generally for your photos, like this particular photo, if I'll open it up and show you what it is. So we'll open that with Photo Viewer. Alright, so this particular photo, there's a lot of detail, it's real life, there's a lot of stuff going on, there's a lot of color changes, etc. You want this to be a JPEG because a JPEG will be able to display all of that correctly and it'll look good, it'll look crisp. If you were to change this to a PNG, it may not look as good, and it'll also be a bigger file size. The reason for that is that PNG will actually store more information, but it's better for things like line drawings, and the information that it stores helps you do things like your logo, for example. That you could in fact, there you go, look at this. This one is actually a PNG file. It's 52.9 kilobytes. It allows it to be transparent. So if you put this picture on a red background, the red will show through. Orange background, the orange will show through. Whereas this one, JPEG, if you had that picture as a JPEG, it would be a pure white background and it would be a square. So different purposes, but for your website optimizing, you're pretty much going to stick with JPEG. The file size is nice and small, and we're just, golden. So we're pretty much done here with all the modifications that we need to do. We've got it set to 600 by 450, so let's just click Start. Takes a second. Open destination folder, and you'll notice we've got a new photo here called Copy, and you've got your dimensions 600 by 450. So if we open this one, you'll see that at maximum it is now a smaller size. Visually you can look at that and go, yes, that is correct, the right size for my website, I'm happy with that. If you zoom in, you'll see that it doesn't have any of the detail, whereas if you zoom in on the other one, well, I mean already it's a bigger photo, but if you zoom in you can still see all that detail. Unnecessary detail for a website. Well, that is pretty much everything. As I said, you can purchase this software just on Fotoziser.com, but just for resizing you can use the free one. If you do go ahead and buy it, it does give you some other options like watermarking, where you could say enable text and say copyright. Where's the preview image? Nope. No, I've lost it. There it is, preview changes. There it is. So you've got copyright up there. I'll leave that preview up and you can move the position. I won't let you do it. Oh yes, it does. Good. Just being slow. So you can move that position to be down here. You could change the color to... Where's the colors? There we are. Green. Rotate it if you wanted to, but all that's extra, so get out of that. Anyway, that is the end of the video. Thanks very much for watching. If you have any questions, just get in touch with us at myassetmarketing.com.